Welcome. Special episode, Dr. Chase Beckett, Sports Card Insights. I'm laughing because my lovely wife asked me this afternoon or at lunch how I was honoring Memorial Day with my podcast tomorrow. And I went, oops, because tomorrow was episode 220, which I still will release, which is a recap, but that in no way honors the fallen heroes of Memorial Day. And again, the best marriage advice I can give you guys that are married is listen to your wife. And so I thought I'll be right back. So I'm back in my office and I am recording a short episode for certainly 4 men that are really worthy of honor. And I've entitled this Memorial Day Heroes. And not all of whom died. I've mentioned in my military services that if people ask people to stand for active duty, I may have had active duty in one sense, but I never was in combat. And there's a big difference there. I never dodged any bullets, but most of these guys did. And in 2 of the cases gave their lives. So again, thanks sponsors, Topps Panini Upper Deck, Heritage Auctions, Huggins Scott Auctions, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, as well as ComC.com. Again, the freedoms we enjoy are based on the sacrifices made by others who went before us. First one, again, he didn't die, but flew all those combat missions. Ted Williams. Again, I totally respect the guy. He's a little bit prickly with media at times, but you look at his career over, well, it looks like he had a 21-year career, but in reality, he had 2 stints in the military. And the first one was absolutely in his prime for World War II. And then he actually kind of volunteered to jump back in with Korea. And that's where he flew these combat missions. Again, a guy that supposedly had the superior eyesight, obviously valuable for a fighter pilot. The what if question asked about Ted Williams is what would Ted's lifetime statistics have been like if you could have added in his couple years he missed in the 40s and couple years he missed in the 50s. Again, when he was essentially in his prime, would he not have even more dominant statistics? But the better what if question is, what if Ted hadn't made it through World War II or had been shot down in the Korean War? So again, very thankful that we had as much of Ted Williams as we did for as long as we did. And he certainly was courageous to step into the line of fire. Number 2, in the world of that's baseball. Basketball, the admiral, who's not really an admiral, he was a lieutenant. I was a lieutenant, but he was only in for 2 years, and I basically had technically in for 2 years as well in the Army. But David Robinson, when he signed up for the Naval Academy, was 6'6". By the time he got there, was 6'7", which was 1 inch over their limit. They obviously don't fit in a submarine. And so he really was not, so they put him in a different position for a couple of years, after which he could come out and join the Spurs, and the rest is history. I have met the Admiral. I think he's the real deal, and had honorable discharge. Again, if you're in the Navy and you're 7 feet tall, which is what he was by the time he was a sophomore in college, it's hard to fit in some of those situations. Number 3, in the world of hockey, Hobey Baker. If you don't know what that name is, you don't follow college hockey. It's the kind of the award to the top college hockey player. He was a star, I guess mostly hockey, but it said he played football too. But he was at Princeton and a dominant college player, and was killed in World War I. So that goes back a way. But again, you had to be pretty outstanding to be memorialized, because that would have been 101 years ago. So again, thank you, Hobey, for your service, and I'm glad your memory lives on. And last, and perhaps even first, is Pat Tillman, who was killed in, I think, Afghanistan. And there were some, it was an accident, I think, but he is a guy that was a defensive back for the Cardinals and decided to enlist after 9/11 in 2001. So he left playing pro football for, I think, 3 or 4 years with the Cardinals, and was, and walked away from a big salary, joined the Army, and a couple years later, he is dead, again, in active duty over there at the age of 27. So again, it's a shame when these good men, good women die, but that's, when we're in war, that's going to happen. And so, like I said, Armistice Day or Veterans Day honors everybody who served. Memorial Day honors those who gave their lives. So again, we wouldn't have a hobby if we didn't have a free country, and we wouldn't be able to trade pieces of cardboard with the pictures of athletes and celebrities that we admire on some level. So thank you, Ted Williams. Thank you, David Robinson. Thank you, Hobey Baker. Thank you, Pat Tillman. Thanks to all those who served, and certainly, especially those who gave their lives. And if there's any collectors out here who also served, again, thanks to you as well. So enjoy Memorial Day. We wouldn't be doing that if we were not a free country. And that was, again, some who paid the ultimate price. Thanks, everybody. Be back again tomorrow with another episode.